too, just to notify everyone that the live is happening, and then we will dive in. You guys can start commenting. So throughout this video, I am doing a $150 giveaway of some amazing supplements to a lucky winner, and I'm only sending it to either like through North America, so Canada or the US. So if you live in Canada or the US, just comment which country you live in, and at the end of the stream, I'm going to just pick a random person to receive some goodies, and I'll go through what those are shortly before we start with all the questions. If you guys also have any questions you want me to ask about health, put them in the comments as well, and I will try to get to every single person. I have my computer here to go through comments. My battery is running really low, so I might have to pause it halfway through to plug it in. I hope everybody's doing good, and I hope you guys can hear me okay. Perfect. Okay, so we are going to start. What I would like to do is, I have a couple topics I want to touch on about gut health. Just some really frequently asked questions here through YouTube. I'm not as active here as I used to be, mainly because of monetization. It just is really hard to keep up with this YouTube channel, especially when there's, not a lot of return for my time put in. So I haven't been as active, but I still answer all the questions that I get asked here as much as I can. And so the comments that I get most often, a lot of them are about gut health. So I'm going to touch on that really briefly, just share some information with that. But I'm here to just answer any questions because I know I'm not as active here, and I want to just give you guys some attention and make sure that any questions you have are answered. So start posting those. I'm going to show you guys the products that I have. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I'm going to show you the products that I have to give away, and one of you guys will be a lucky winner. Okay. So I'm probably going to redo this halfway through as well and just show everyone again for those new people joining. But what I have is a 473 ml bottle of organic coconut MCT oil from Garden of Life. So what I actually use this for is oil pulling personally. I have a bottle that I will add peppermint, essential oil, and clove, and even a little bit of tea tree, and I oil pull with that and some clove. However, this can also be added to coffee. If you want to do like a bulletproof coffee, you can use this for energy, for brain health. So there's a lot of benefits and uses. You can add it to a smoothie, however you want. So it's a liquid. This is a really expensive bottle, so I'm excited to be giving this away to one of you. I also have a tub of Botanica's Organic Perfect Greens Powder. This is the berry flavor. It is 7,140 milligram per serving of fruits and veggies. This is non-GMO, stevia-free, organic, all the things. So really easy to digest, and I like adding this to smoothies. So this is also part of the package, the giveaway package. Just put them up here. I'm also going to be doing these essential oil pearls. I use these all the time, so I want to give them to you guys because they're so great. So they're in little capsules, and it's actually peppermint essential oil. I use this for digestion. I love taking this after meals. It really helps so much improve digestion. So that's one thing we'll be doing as well. And then I have from the company Pasco. It's a homeopathic company. This is the Pasco Flare Night. So it's like a homeopathic sleep aid that you can take to just help relax, and hopefully if you have insomnia, anxiety at night, restless sleep, this should help. And then the last thing, which is something I use pretty much every day, and my kids use it too, is organic juniper berry. So we use this as a tea, and I love this because this is what we use for liver and kidney support. So juniper is amazing to flush the liver and the kidneys. It helps eliminate uric acids. So great for like kidney health in general. It gets rid of acidity from the body. It's great to purify and flush the skin. So a fantastic tea. So this is the juniper berries. They're hardened. They're like dehydrated. So you just add them to water, boiling water for a few minutes, and then let it steep for like 20 minutes and drink it. It's fantastic. So this is over $150 worth of stuff. that I'll be giving to one of you. And all you have to do is just comment the country, US or Canada. I'll scroll through and pick a random winner once we're done the live stream. And again, if you guys have any questions for me, please feel free to post them in the comments and I will get them all answered. I want to start by talking about the gut. All the clients that I work with have typically some like significantly severe autoimmune disease. And so they're pretty progressed in the disease process. I'm just monitoring the comments here on my laptop. So I'll be looking here once in a while, but yes, Anna, it's an awesome package. Definitely a lot of goodies. So a lot of my clients have really, severe autoimmune, and the question I get all the time is like, what can I do for lupus? What do I do for vitiligo? What can I do for psoriasis or rheumatoid arthritis? And it's not that simple. And so the first thing I tell people all the time, and that's what I want to share here, is you need to start with the basics. When you have an autoimmune, there's so many things that are out of balance and that need to be worked on. But before we start overthinking things or getting so aggressive with this huge long journey and protocol, step one is you have to start at the level of the gut. And the reason is because when people say, the gut is the root of all issues or all disease begins in the gut, it is true. And the reason is because the gut has an impact on every single organ system. So for example, if the gut has a lot of pathogens, it's going to burden the liver significantly and the kidneys because of the toxicity that is going to pass through the hepatic vein and into the bloodstream to affect and be eliminated through the liver and kidneys. It's also going to impact our immune system because now our immune system is chronically fighting against pathogens. It's going to affect our hormonal system because if our gut's not working optimally, we not only get nutrient deficiencies and all kinds of things which impact every part of our body, but we have estrogen and other hormones that will circulate and reuptake from the gut into the bloodstream and recirculate. It's usually toxic xenoestrogens or carcinogenic estrogens that should have been eliminated through the gut and have reabsorbed because of leaky gut and not enough good probiotics. It impacts our brain health because of our vagal nerve that connects the gut and the brain, but it also passes a lot of really toxic compounds like acetyl alcohols and other things pass through the gut-brain barrier, and so much more. So the gut impacts every body system, and typically when we have pathogens and we have toxicity in the gut, we are also producing 80% of histamine from our entire body. It's coming from the gut. So we're producing a ton of histamine that is driving your autoimmune. And you can't shut down the histamine by taking antihistamines or even natural ones if you're producing it 24/7 from the gut. So you have to first stop the production in the gut. And the way that you do that is a pathogen cleanse. So long story short, the gut is like the root of all evil in terms of disease. And before you think about replenishing deficiencies and taking vitamin D and vitamin E and vitamin A and all these things, before you even think about taking probiotics to replenish, which is always a good idea, but not the first step that should be done. Before you think about trying to regulate your hormones and trying to improve brain health or trying to boost your immune system, like that all comes after. The first step is fix what's affecting everything in the first place, fix what's damaging everything, and then we can start to rebuild and replace and replenish afterwards. So it always starts in the gut. I have never done a protocol, and I've worked with over 7,000 clients to date. I've never done a protocol that doesn't first involve some type of gut work. You want to shut down the inflammation at the source, at the root, which is stemming from the gut. And then from there, you can kind of build and improve. But usually, especially when it comes to skin issues, I love skin issues, and this is going to sound weird, but I tell this to my clients all the time, and I touched on this on my Holistic Living podcast, but skin issues are amazing because you can visibly see when change is happening, right? You can see redness, and then it's gone, or it's improving. Whereas other conditions, you might not notice a change as much. So anyway, with skin issues especially, if you start shutting down inflammation in the gut, you will. I guarantee, I promise, if you've done it correctly, 100% you will see, if not full clearing, like 80 to 90% clearing in the skin. It's because the gut is producing majority of the inflammation we have in our body. So once that's corrected, everything else starts to fall into place. Your hormones get excreted properly. You're producing less toxins to burden the skin and the liver and the kidneys. Your immune system will be stronger, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go into any more detail on that right now, but why I wanted to bring this up is because you probably have noticed that majority of podcast topics, Instagram posts, and YouTube videos are surrounding gut health and a topic of the gut in general. And I figured that is really where the education needs to come from. Most people are struggling and they always want to just get to like the end goal of like, how do I fix my problem without starting at like the very baby steps, which is first support and fix the gut, and then everything else will follow. So that's where I've just been sharing a lot of content and information and have kind of pivoted and niched it down to really just focus on the gut. And anyone who thinks that their gut health is perfect and that they don't need to improve it is mistaken. Like no matter how good your gut health is, living in 2024, exposed to processed foods, even if you barely eat them, exposed to even minimal stress, and everything else that we have in our environment and the pollution, everybody's guts need to be continuously supported and corrected and fixed. So I don't feel like there's ever too much gut information. I feel like it's always something that people need to just refresh on or continue to learn upon. So I hope that kind of helped a little bit. I'm going to just pause really quick and go through some comments. And again, for anyone joining, just comment your country, US or Canada, and I will be choosing a winner for, let's grab them, all of these amazing health products, which is over $150 US in value. Okay, so let me just look here. Give me 1 second. What can you do if so Deanna asks, what can you do if your digestive system is so sensitive you can't drink peppermint tea? So I'm not sure what you mean by sensitive, but if you feel, I don't know if you have like ulcer type pain or if you have like abdominal cramping or runny stools, or I'm not sure exactly what sensitive means, or is it heartburn? But if something is not working for you, don't take it. And you want to go gentle. Some people are so inflamed that they can't handle even supplements. And so this is important, and this is where diet's going to play a role. Food is medicine, and if you can't start taking like a supplement, start at the food source. And don't even do teas. You can do things with your diet, like literally, I call it the baby food diet, which is something you only do for a short period of time, but makes a big difference. And people with Crohn's disease especially can really benefit from the baby food diet, where you literally puree and cook everything. So you don't have one speck of raw veggies, any grains, any vegetables that you're consuming, even fruit you're pureeing into a smoothie, into a soup. Meat you're pureeing literally into some type of like meatloaf or paste or something. It sounds gross. It's not. You can really do a lot of cool things. What I used to do was take chicken, and instead of making like chicken noodle soup, I would blend the chicken with the carrots and everything, and it tasted exactly like chicken noodle soup, but almost like a butternut squash soup consistency. So it was really good. So that's what you're needing to do. If you're that sensitive, you want to really reduce all inflammatory foods and oils and all the things, and focus mostly on proteins and vegetables and soothing foods like squashes. Puree it all, cook everything. Give yourself a lot of time to fast, to heal, and do transcutaneous vagal nerve stimulation. And then once you start to strengthen your digestive system, you can go ahead and try some supplements or some herbal teas and things like that. I don't know if that answered your question, but I hope that helps. Crystal asks, how do we do a pathogen cleanse? So I have a 60-day gut reset. I will put that in the comments right now, just so you guys can check it out. There's 2 options, so give me 1 second. And then you can use the code 100 off, and that's going to give you guys $100 off the program. This gut reset, I've talked about it like quite a bit on my podcast, but it is a full candida cleanse. It is a full leaky gut protocol, full liver and kidney support, just complete top to bottom entire, I call it gut reset, but really it's a whole body reset with recipes, diet, and an insane amount of knowledge and education. You get access to it for an entire year. You get access to my membership platform, which is like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of content, protocols, support, etc. So there's a private Facebook community that we have as well to like kind of walk you through it. So that's one option, is if you're needing like guidance, I always recommend follow like a program, work with an expert who is, done this and who has the expertise behind them. I also have a Candida cleanse guide. It's just a smaller guide, so obviously a much more affordable. That is on my website, wholisticspring.com. So if you click wholisticspring.com, just go under ebooks, you'll find my Candida guide under there, and it walks you step by step how to do a safe Candida cleanse, which means it includes liver and kidney drainage, includes binders, of course your antifungals, antiviral, and so on and so forth. And it tells you what to eat for food and things like that as well. So that whole Candida cleanse is in the Gut Reset, with all broken down step by step what you need to do. I'm obsessed with it. It's an incredible program. But if you just want the guide itself and not, the full program, not the whole body reset with the immune support and all of the therapies and everything else, you can just get the guide itself. But essentially a Candida cleanse or a pathogen cleanse involves eating 0 sugars, really, really minimal carbs, really focusing on vegetables, some healthy fats, proteins, completely healing the gut by removing any inflammatory seed oils and caffeine and alcohol and carbonated beverages, sleeping really good, and then of course the supplement portion of it, which is antifungals, liver and kidney support, antiviral support, immune support, binders. So it's a full protocol. It's something you want to do minimum 60 to 120 days. Some people go beyond that if they need, but it is incredible, and I think almost everybody in 2024 needs to be doing it, because so many things drive pathogens. We have stress, we have toxins and pollution from foods, from our environment, from products we're using, from antibiotics, we have from different medications, we get overgrowth, and then of course our diet, if it's high in carbs and alcohol and whatever else. So there's so many things that fuel and drive overgrowth, and these days we all need to be on it, especially if you have mold exposure as well. All right, just looking at the comments. So Deanna mentioned that she got her gallbladder removed and then her digestive system has been off since then. So, okay, I've talked about this extensively on my podcast, Holistic Living, but also on Instagram and here on YouTube. But I'll just really briefly add to the first point I made when talking about her digestive system being really sensitive. If your gallbladder is removed, you need to do a couple things, non-negotiable. The gallbladder is the storage site for bile, which gets produced by our liver and then sent to the gallbladder, so that every time we eat a meal, when the food leaves our stomach, it's like a bolus of food that's extremely acidic from our stomach acid. If that food enters our colon without bile, it is severely acidic, so you're going to have a lot of irritation to the gut lining. It's very damaging. So the bile waits in the duodenum. So as soon as the food leaves the stomach, it hits the duodenum, the top part of the small intestine, where the bile will mix with that food and neutralize the pH, and then it can pass through the colon safely. When that gallbladder is gone, your liver now has to produce bile on demand rather than just producing it and trickling it into the gallbladder as a storage site. So what ends up happening is your liver gets insanely burdened. It cannot keep up with bile production like that. Secondly, the liver's always producing a little bit of bile, so it's going to trickle bile directly into the colon when the gallbladder's gone. Bile on its own in the colon, without being neutralized by the acid to make it less alkaline, is very histamine forming and irritating to the gut lining. So typically anybody who has a gallbladder removed ends up with major histamine problems, which means you can't eat many things, you form a lot of food sensitivities, oftentimes skin issues or inflammatory conditions. So a few things you need to be doing: liver support, you need to be taking a binder like activated charcoal, cholestyramine, something like that, to soak up the bile in the colon when you're not eating. If you're having bile in the colon and there's no food with it, that's a problem. So you need to be on a binder. And then you should be supplementing with bile with every meal. So like 20 minutes before you eat, you should be taking bile supplement. And this is a lifelong thing typically. Obviously, always check with your doctor, but that's kind of what you need to do, or you will have some long-term issues if you don't already. Okay. Fairy says, I eat very low carb and taking some supplements here in Australia. No homeopathics here, sadly, but I'm still getting skin and sinus flare-ups around ovulation and before period. I don't consume anything inflammatory. What could cause the flare-up? Any extra supplementation, please? Before I go into this question, just anyone who's joining that's new, again, we are doing a really big supplement giveaway. I showed in the beginning of the video. I'll show again shortly. If you want to enter the giveaway, just comment US or Canada, wherever you live, and I will select a winner. And then while the live stream's going, I will just I will tell you to email me to collect your shipping details and stuff, and I will ship supplements out right away and the products. And any questions you guys have, just put them in the comments. So, Fairy, to answer this question, anytime you get a symptom of inflammation right before a hormonal shift, so ovulation or your period, it's histamine driven. When our body has estrogen fluctuations, we also get histamine fluctuations. So estrogen is connected to our inflammation, and so it's very common to get these kind of flares before any significant hormonal shift. The other thing is when we are having specifically ovulation, we get a lot of dampness in our body. So yeast and other pathogens are more active during this time. They produce a lot of histamine as well and a lot of fluid. So we can get more sinus issues. You might get chronic or recurring vaginal yeast infections around ovulation. So that kind of stuff is really normal. When you are having a skin flare-up that's driven by a hormonal shift, it's most likely a histamine, like a chronic histamine condition. I can't give specific supplement recommendations, but what I can say is you 100% sound like you need to do a pathogen and colon cleanse. If your gut is functioning perfectly, any excess hormones that you have, rather than affecting you, should just be excreted, and you shouldn't then have any type of symptoms. You also want to do liver support. This will go a long way in supporting your thyroid and your ovarian hormones in order to help regulate the cycle so you're not actually having symptoms. We essentially should be, women have shifts in our hormones daily and also monthly, but we shouldn't know that we're having the shifts until we're like literally bleeding, right, on our period. Besides that, there shouldn't be mood swings, PMS, flaring symptoms, nothing at all. And if there is, it means your body's not processing and excreting the excess hormones. They're driving up inflammation, and that's what's causing the symptoms that you're having. So if the body's not excreting the excess hormones, it's the liver and the gut that need to be worked on. So I would definitely start there. I always tell clients this: you could be eating a perfect diet right now, and you could be drinking perfectly filtered water, managing your stress, avoiding all chemicals, but that doesn't mean that there's still no problems in the body, because remember, holistically, we are looking at your entire lifetime from the moment of your conception all the way until 2024. So if your mother maybe, was not having a great diet when she was pregnant with you, you would have a lot of chemicals. And there are chemicals that we are exposed to that are called forever chemicals that sit in our body and do not get removed unless we do some deep cleansing. And it could be plastics, it could be heavy metals, it could be other chemicals. So that's the first thing I want to mention with that. Secondly, if you ever drink tap water in your life, if you ever drink out of plastic bottles, if you ever took medications, ever drank alcohol fairly regularly, if you ever drink or eat foods out of cans, if you ever eat a lot of carbs at any point in your life, if you ever have significant stress or poor sleep quality anytime in your life, that all drives inflammation, pathogens, toxins, and more that again sit in the body, burden the liver and the kidneys, and don't really get removed from the body unless you're doing a deep cleanse. So even if for the past many years you've been really healthy, you still have to kind of go back through life and potentially reverse any inflammation and toxins and damage that's kind of been done at that time from childhood up until now. And I can say like pretty confidently most people at some point in their life were exposed to some degree of toxicity. Even like secondhand smoking, if someone you lived with or were around frequently smoked, there's so many things. If you lived in a home that had mold exposure or dampness, if you live in an area like a busy city, then you were having a lot of pollution. So there's always stuff that just drives everything. And that's where we're gonna have these types of symptoms. I'm not sure if that answered your question. Okay, one other thing I will say is the person that I choose to be the winner obviously has to be here in the live. So when I choose the winner and I send an email, I just need them to reply that like, hey, I'm still here. If not, I'll just keep choosing a new name until one of the individuals are in the live. Just so I have the person watching the live the whole time for engagement. Let me go through the comments, see if there's any other questions. I hope anyone, especially in the US, by the way, like in Florida, in the areas of Hurricane Helene or in the Appalachians, I hope you guys are okay. I don't know if I've been kind of following a little bit and tracking the news. I don't know if you guys have family members there, but I've been praying and I hope that, yeah, everybody's safe. Okay, so I'm going to go through the names. Since there's no more questions, I'm going to choose a winner and we will end the live. All right. I have my laptop here, so I'm just going to close my eyes, pick a person completely. I guess I'll just look at you guys and my hand will be here on the screen and I'll just pick a person. All right, here we go. I'm just going to scroll and just land on a name. Crystal Marie, if you're still in the chat, just say hey. Perfect, yay. Okay, so I'm gonna put my email and Crystal, just reply whenever you have time to this email and just say, hey, I was in the YouTube video, won the giveaway. If you could include your full name and shipping details and phone number, I will send the package out and include tracking for you. And just as a recap of what you are getting, there is the Botanica Berry Organic Greens Powder. There is a bottle of the organic coconut MCT oil from Garden of Life, the juniper berry tea, which we use for liver and kidney drainage, the peppermint essential oil little pills or capsules, and last but not least, we have our homeopathic Pasco Flare for stress, for sleep, and relaxation. So I'm so excited that you won the giveaway. Congratulations, and thank you everybody for joining the live. I will post this as a replay, so if anybody wants to come back and watch, you are more than welcome to. I hope my YouTube family has been doing good, and hopefully if you guys are trying to stay up to date with content, that you're visiting my podcast and checking my social media, especially Instagram out, as I'm active there every day. Thank you everybody for joining. I hope you guys have a beautiful night or day wherever you are watching from, and I will talk to you soon.